So let's talk about something fascinating. We're going to dive into how one huge, decisive domestic move by India not only ended a 70-year-old conflict, but in doing so, basically showed the world its brand new playbook for becoming a global power. This is a story about how fixing things at home is changing the game abroad.
At its core, this whole thing is about a nation that started as a puzzle, a patchwork of pieces, and is now becoming this confident, unified force on the world stage. And look, this isn't just some minor policy tweak, it's a massive shift in how India sees itself, and maybe more importantly, how it wants the world to see it.
All right, to really get what's happening today, you gotta rewind the clock. We're going all the way back to 1947. The year India was born was also the year a massive, 70-year-long challenge was created, a challenge that has really defined its borders and its politics ever since.
See, when the British left, it wasn't a clean break. They didn't just hand over the keys to one country. No, they left behind a subcontinent that was fractured into a partitioned British India and 565 independent princely states. Every single ruler had to make this epic choice: join India, join Pakistan, or try to go it alone. The fate of millions of people really hung in the balance.
And this table right here, it gets right to the heart of the problem. While most of those states joined up pretty smoothly, these three became instant hotspots. The reason was simple, but man, was it explosive. The religion of the ruler was different from the religion of most of the people. That mismatch just set the stage for decades of conflict.
Okay, so that brings us to the trickiest piece of this whole puzzle: Jammu and Kashmir. The very unique way it joined India created this special legal status, a real exception that would end up shaping the destiny of the entire region for the next 70 years.
Now, this wasn't some calm, calculated decision made over a cup of tea. No way. This was a decision made under extreme pressure, literally under fire. With militias backed by Pakistan closing in, the ruler, Maharaja Hari Singh, made a pretty desperate call to India for military help. And the price for that help? His signature on this document, the Instrument of Accession, which officially made Kashmir part of India. And this is what led to the creation of Article 370. But here's the kicker, and you've got to remember this. It was always meant to be temporary, a transitional thing. The whole idea was to give the state some autonomy until things settled down. But you know how temporary things can go. It ended up sticking around for 72 years.
So just look at what this meant in practice. It was basically a state within a state. Think about it. Its own constitution, its own flag. And India's parliament? It only had a say on defense, foreign affairs, and communications. For everything else, the state government could literally say no thanks to national laws. It made full integration incredibly complicated.
And then, 2019 happened. A total break from the past. After more than 70 years of this unique, temporary setup, the Indian government made a huge, decisive move to end it all, rewriting the region's constitutional history in just a few days.
And let me tell you, this was not some random off-the-cuff decision. Not at all. This was a carefully planned, almost surgical operation that had been in the works for years. It involved moving security forces into position, and then a very fast and determined move in Parliament to officially remove the article.
Okay, so you might be thinking, that's a big internal deal, but why should the rest of the world care? Well, here's why it's so important. That same decisiveness, that willingness to just break from the past and finally tackle a 70-year-old problem head-on, that's the exact same spirit that's now driving India's foreign policy.
And a key figure, maybe the key figure driving this new worldview, is India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar. His philosophy is a clear break from the past. He's all about a foreign policy that is confident, that is practical, and that, without apology, puts India's interests first.
Just listen to this quote. That was his response to what China was doing on the border. That says it all, right? It's direct, there's no ambiguity, it's a clear signal that India's not going to back down when its interests are on the line. The old, cautious diplomatic talk, it's being replaced with crystal clarity.
This slide right here is basically the before and after photo of India's foreign policy. For decades, India's whole thing was non-alignment. Basically, we're not picking a team. Today, it's multi-alignment, which means it'll play on any team, with the US, with Russia, with Europe, as long as it helps India. It's a huge shift from being ideological to being purely pragmatic.
And you can see India actively making its pitch on the world stage. It's positioning itself as a solid, reliable option, especially for the developing world. It's showing off its own successes, like its incredible digital payment system, and acting as a friend of the world during crises like the pandemic with its vaccine program. It's building a brand as a partner you can trust.
So where is all this heading? What's the endgame for this new playbook? Well, it's all about building what's now being called the Indian Dream, a really ambitious vision for what India wants to be in 2047, which will be its 100th birthday.
And yeah, there's a big number tied to that dream: $30 trillion. That's the goal for India's economy by 2047. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's a jump of nearly 10 times from where it is today. That is a mind-bogglingly huge ambition.
But, and this is really important, Minister Jaishankar is clear that this dream isn't just about money. It's about having real influence, making sure India's voice is heard on the world stage. It's about the power of its ideas and its culture. And, crucially, it's about citizen security. The idea that if you're an Indian citizen, holding an Indian passport, your government has your back. Anywhere, anytime.
And look, this isn't some far-off fantasy. We're already seeing these ideas in action, right now. When India led the G20, it pushed for the African Union to become a full member. And it happened. During COVID, its vaccine program was a huge diplomatic success. And over again, it's launched these incredibly complex operations to rescue its citizens from war zones.
So when you boil it all down, here's the bottom line. We are watching a fundamental shift in real time. India is moving on from its old role as a balancing power, kind of caught in the middle. Now, it wants to be a leading power, a country that doesn't just react to what's happening, but actively helps shape it.
You know, this whole transformation from a nation that was pretty cautious and inward-looking to one that's confident and ready to lead, it's honestly one of the biggest geopolitical stories happening right now. And it leaves all of us with a really big question to think about. As this new India steps up, how is the rest of the world going to change its own playbook?